Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Inside a small Los Angeles hotel room, 1948. Paige is in mid-conversation with the Reverend.
Jim is a good kid. A little scatterbrained, but good. I know.
There's no doubt he's good, Jan. I was merely suggesting an idea for what might have happened. I feel like I know Jim better than most of his peers, but I'm not ruling anything out. Boys will be boys when they're 17.
And far from home. God, why didn't I duct tape his door?
Because you thought he was responsible. And he is, definitely. But if you're out from under the thumb of your parents, wouldn't you want to see the world?
Not if I had responsibilities, Reverend. I thought he would be serious about this whole thing. If he could be a hometown hero if he let himself. The entire trip here, he talked and talked and talked about how amazing it would be to return with a medal or a trophy. And I can't imagine why he walked out like he did.
Listen, Jan. I know he probably hasn't done anything rash. You trust Jim, I trust Jim. We can hope Jim trusts Jim, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure he understands the weight of this situation, what it could do for him. He excels in my classes, sure, but I can only teach him so much. He deserves a teacher beyond what I'm capable of. I can barely keep any of those kids' heads above the water, but Jim is special. He doesn't like to pay attention, creates conflict, sleeps in class, doesn't try.
I thought you said he was a good kid.
Somehow he is. He's a good kid, despite all that. No dad at home, when he's God knows where. No mother either. That's no way for a boy to grow up.
He's got Hortense and Marcus.
And bless their souls for taking him in. Jim's an undertaking and a half.
Amen.
He doesn't even need to try to succeed. I don't know what he's like for Bradford, Hodges, or Carmichael, but for me, he succeeds. And he knows he's good at this speech stuff. And I don't feel as though I'm challenging him like I should. He shouldn't be wasting away in the classroom, which is why I brought him to Los Angeles. If he can place with these kids, then it can do more for him than anything in Indiana.
You're right.
I made that very clear to him from the start of this journey. I said, you do the work, it'll pay off. And then he's not here. Not here.
She looks at her watch.
God, it's been hours. He's probably nowhere near a phone.
Look, if your feelings mean anything to him, and I'm sure that they do.
I'm sure they do. And that's why he's not here.
Jan, you need to relax. Take a breath, say a prayer, drink some water.
Oh, thank God.
Sorry, the door handle jiggles. Jim enters, looking enthralled.
Where have you been? And why do you look like you've rolled through a gutter?
You want to hear?
Not now. It can wait until after I get an explanation.
What is it, Jim?
Oh. I'd rather just tell Mrs. Page, if that's all right with you, Reverend.
All right. I'll be waiting across the hall.
The Reverend exits.
What'd he want?
Well?
Nosy old. Mrs. Page, you ain't gonna believe this.
I think you've forgotten the reason we're here.
Is that what you were talking to Reverend Jacob about?
Partially.
Getting a whiff.
You need to freshen yourself up, Jim. You stink.
She ushers him to the bathroom.
You don't want to hear nothing at all?
If you can, I'd like to hear some water running. I can't stand the smell.
Well, I needed to.
You needed to practice.
I already know it.
You should have known it so well that you could power through anything around threw at you. Adaptability, Jim. I'm trying to bestow that in you.
Could you bestow a break, too?
Your discipline is disgraceful. We came to Los Angeles for you. Raised that money for you. Reverend Jacoby came out of his way to be a chaperone for you. Hortense and Marcus organized that going away pep rally.
My aunt and uncle did that?
Yes? Did you know that?
Nah, I didn't know that.
The point is a total disregard for the people and resources that got you here. People are counting on you, Jim.
You're really laying into me.
Sure, make fun. I'm just a funny old person to you now, but you'll wish you'd paid attention when you're living in a box in some street corner.
Even if it has a second story?
Jim!
Just kidding.
You're being callous.
And you're being annoying. You're mad.
Yes.
I'm mad.
Why?
Because.
No, you're not.
Jim pokes his head out of the bathroom. Paige watches as he performs his piece.
Yes, a madman. How in the world would he have struck to my heart many years ago? How would it have roused a terror that used to come upon me sometimes, sending the blood hissing and tingling through my veins, till the cold dew of fear stood in large drops upon my skin, and my knees looked together.
Thank you.
How do I smell?
Better.
Thank you.
They laugh. Jim is full of bouncy, anxious energy.
Damn, when I came in here, y'all were just wound up so tight. I thought you was talking about something serious.
We were.
He stops.
What?
I wanted you to do well today.
Yeah.
I thought you were better than that girl who got 5th. Only taking the top 5 was a slap in the face to everyone.
You could count all the goodies on one hand.
He does.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was the big, fat 6th. This ugly thumb over here on the other hand, see?
You just barely missed it. That's cause for celebration, right?
I guess.
But it wasn't right to storm out, Jim. Not in front of everyone.
I was mad.
So was I. I didn't stand up and march out.
I was in the moment.
There's a difference between instinct and rudeness.
Which side am I on?
Infuriatingly disrespectful.
Part of my charm.
Where did you go?
Out.
Where?
Couldn't say.
Jim, I'll have to file a report when we return to school.
Why?
Because you left.
So?
So it could jeopardize your academic standing. It could get you expelled.
Okay.
Don't you care? Jim!
I care. I care.
Then where did you go? I was about to send the Reverend out for you.
I told you, out.
Out won't work on the file.
Can I get a drink? All that walking made me thirstier than hell.
Paige sighs and grabs a soda from the small fridge.
You walked there.
And you didn't follow me.
I assumed you were walking around the building to cool off. It was 5 hours, Jim.
Really?
Yes.
Should have made it 6.
I was worried sick. I thought you had, I don't know, you were a liability for the school, Jim, and for me, I could have lost my job.
You still could, technically.
I don't appreciate that.
Sorry. You know, 5th place girl was better than 4th place guy.
What makes you say that?
Her piece was better.
I would have given him 3rd instead.
Hers had depth.
His words were so poetic.
She held the room better.
He didn't ask if the judge was ready.
I felt like the layers to her piece added something cool to the round.
There was a journey to his story. Like, it had some real weight to it.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I am. And I feel it's directly contradicting whatever I'm saying.
Is that bad?
If you're arguing for the sake of arguing, then yes.
It's actually what I thought. Actually.
Really? Everything you're saying is a direct translation of what's floating in your brain.
You bet.
You're hurt. Let it hurt.
I don't think we should have changed things.
You could have won with what you had if you had listened.
I did.
You most certainly did not.
I did.
If you had, you would have been up on that podium, not sulking somewhere.
I didn't sulk.
You were distracted. You let something distract you. You'll have to try again next year. We can find something just as unique as a madman's manuscript.
These people ain't Indiana people. They can smell me, Mrs. Page. They know I'm some backwards hick. I think it's the accent.
You're no less talented than they are.
This is where I'll have to start contradicting you again, Miss Page.
Please don't.
You don't want to hear me out?
If it's more snark, then absolutely not.
I promise it's not. Those kids are rewarded for playing by the rules. If they took risks.
If they took risks, they'd be where you are now. 6th place and angry.
I don't see why they couldn't have waved it off.
These judges are fair. They weren't going to give you any slack unless everyone else ran long too.
None of those little shits could tell a good story if they had their hands tied behind their backs.
They told good stories and kept to the time limit.
Well, in Indiana, they...
We aren't in Indiana, are we, Jim? We're in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, they adhere to the rules.
The rules of pissing on dumpsters and catcalling ladies on the street. Oh, yeah, real neat and tidy.
Didn't you just say Indiana people were backwoods hicks?
No.
I recall when you were speaking for yourself as a representative of the great state, backwoods hick definitely entered the conversation.
Screw this.
So first you're a bumpkin, but now you're too proud to be lumped in with them. What's the truth, Jim?
Screw you.
You can't pick and choose whose fault it is when you are the one at fault.
Cutting a single word ruins the flow of the piece, right? You wanted to be an actress. It ruins
You
the
are
essence,
blaming people
the
you don't know to make
flow,
yourself feel
right?
better. The immaturity on display today was embarrassing. It was 20 minutes, Jim. You went on for 10 minutes after they started counting it against you.
Every word's needed.
You have to sacrifice things to get ahead.
For what?
Getting recognition. Didn't you want to win today?
I think one of us wanted to win today.
You.
No.
Yes.
No.
You did.
I don't remember once saying that.
I remember it specifically. On the train in Colorado, you were mumbling in your sleep.
Of course I was.
You were.
I know you wanted me to win. I'm sorry I couldn't have done that.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I ruined...
It's fine, really.
Here, I was preaching about taking responsibility for your actions.
Really?
I'm sorry, Jim.
Miss Page?
There is something to what you're saying. It's all there for a reason. That's something I've always found upsetting. Some of these pieces are too good to tear apart.
That girl who chopped up Streetcar?
What was she thinking? Dreadful.
It was just her rambling up there.
She didn't fight all right.
Nah. I'm pretty sure she would have placed below me in that round.
He crosses the room to a folder sitting on a table. He fishes out a ballot.
I got a 2, so maybe she did.
What did that one say?
Piece is well executed. I'm very well frightened.
Opening, effective. It's like I'm there with you.
Don't cut a word.
It does not.
Picking up
This one
another
says-
ballot.
This one says to.
Prove it.
Piece is worthy of finals, but speaker ran absurdly over. She gave you a 6. I read them over and over, Jim. I tried to understand.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all.
You can try next year.
Yeah,
We'll show them what 2 yokels from Indiana can do.
yokels, huh?
Backwoods hick is too wordy.
Yokels.
Should we play that strength?
You think they'd like it?
Depends on the judge, I suppose.
Yeah.
Something classical, I think. Judges liked that.
Classically yokel?
It doesn't have to be rural.
You're right.
Any ideas? What?
I'm already over halfway done with junior year. If I lost this year and next, these kids would remember my face, know my name. I don't know. I'd rather kill myself.
Jim, that's crazy.
It scares me to be known like that. Wouldn't you want to end it?
No, I wouldn't, Jim. And would you like to know why?
Why?
Because I'm not 17 anymore. It all seems bad and overwhelming, but when you're grown up, you'll see it all didn't really matter.
But you said it did.
The failure, I mean. The feeling of failure will fade. It won't seem to matter so much. You might even look back and laugh at yourself for thinking it did.
I should try something else.
Wouldn't that put you in an endless loop of rejection? Constantly trying something new and not being good enough at it right away and starting over?
I wouldn't be shit at everything.
Your expectations for yourself are high, Jim, and that's admirable. You won't be bad at something if you stick to it long enough to become a master. I think there's something in acting you have a natural affinity for.
Should I go to college for acting or basketball or law? Winnie keeps pushing me to look.
I think you'd be fine in anything you do.
But what do you think I should do?
I can't push you to go anywhere. That's something you have to decide, but I believe you should pursue what you love.
Is that what you did?
You could say.
Teaching's your passion?
It's more out of necessity than passion. I wanted to act, Jim. I wanted so desperately to do something meaningful and have my life preserved on a screen somewhere. That's what's important, right? A catalog of your success up there for everyone to see. For everyone to see and know. Jan Page. But some people don't have it. Don't have the look, or the appeal, or the money, or the drive, or what have you. And when I couldn't make it, I thought I should push the kids I knew had it in them and go after it. There's something so satisfying about watching one of my students, one of Jan Page's students, make it. That's my mark. I cheer them on from the sidelines, and I have very few players in that game. I think you could be one of them.
Any of them made it?
No. I probably haven't been cheering loudly enough.
Well, you're awful loud for me.
No one's ever gone to nationals before. You're my first. Being first is a big deal.
I don't know. That pep rally was weird. It ain't quite right. It was...
Embarrassing?
No, it wasn't...
The basketball team gets one whenever they make state.
Yeah, but I don't think nobody cares about the kid who took to walls.
I care.
You're supposed to.
Marcus and Hortense care. Winnie would care.
Winnie hasn't cared about nothing since Mom died.
Does he push you like I do?
He don't care. I mean, he does, but he don't. See, he wants to know what I'm doing when it isn't suitable. I found his name in a phone book yesterday.
Jim, that's great.
Why is it great?
He's within arm's reach, right?
I suppose.
If I'd known, we could have gotten lunch or something.
I didn't want to have lunch with him.
Oh.
I needed proof. Proof that little Jimmy made something of himself. I wanted to march up to him and say, "Here I am, Dad. Ain't you proud of me?"
Is that what you said when you saw him?
I didn't.
You didn't see him? Then what was the point of staying out so long, Jim?
I couldn't face him. His house isn't very big. It's like a small fortress. There's moss on it right under the right front window. The trees don't let the brick dry, I guess. Starch, white, hard stone. Only one car in the driveway. He probably doesn't let his new wife out of the house. I bet she can't drive or think for herself. He snares people and won't let them go, or he gets so tough and hard that he can't let you in. He loved Mom enough, I guess. I'm too much like her.
She helped you love life.
God, soft, queer, fag.
The Reverend
Jim?
re-enters.
Oh, good. Everyone seems calmer now. Jim? I was going to go out and get some air, see the skyline before we have to leave. Would you like to take a stroll?
Me? No, I want to stay here.
You sure? Might be the last time we see Los Angeles for a while.
No, thank you.
Suit yourself. Jan?
I'm fine here too, Reverend. I've done enough pacing today.
The Reverend smiles, closing the door behind him.
You were very curt. Short, to the point.
I guess I was.
I thought so anyway.
I guess. My fag.
Jim, no.
Well, fags do theater.
Who says that?
I don't know.
You're not going to squeal, huh?
Lots of people say it. Impossible to name guys.
Is it just the guys who give you a hard time? I think you should do theater because you love it.
Because I love guys.
Do you? I thought you performed wonderfully in class.
Then why don't they think so too? Why do I have to defend myself for doing for what I like?
Because life isn't fair.
Oh shit, you're full of wisdom, you know that?
What does your heart say?
Well, my heart says to screw my father and do whatever the hell I want.
I could say that's a good idea, but he would be paying your way.
And I'd pay my own way.
How?
Sell my junk.
And live in an empty apartment?
Fix up cars and motorcycles then.
And when will you have time to act?
I don't know. I don't know.
You go all in, Jim. You do it all or none at all. Do you have a plan?
Never.
I think you're too good not to try. All I want is for you to land on your feet.
Thanks.
Kids like you that come through my classes are rarer than you think. Not everyone wants to adapt Frankenstein into a comedy.
Just me. Did you actually think I was dead?
I don't know. You just weren't in your room. As a chaperone, though, when you see an empty room, there's very few things you can assume.
I think it's funny you and the Rev were talking about me.
Why?
He's a funny guy. He used to keep me after confirmation and tell me the dumbest stuff. Funny stories. His eyebrows would get all high on his face. And his laugh, man. I based Frankenstein off him.
Did he know?
Yeah, he told the congregation about it. That's why so many people came to see him. We had some good talks.
He's popular among the young crowd, isn't he?
The Reverend ain't afraid to cut through the shit. He'd tell me to screw Winnie and do what I want.
That's the easy way. I know you don't really want that.
How do you know what I want?
You can see it in your eyes.
Then tell me. What do you see?
You want someone to tell you what you want to hear.
No.
Yes.
Well, what's wrong with that?
It's blatantly immature. I can't think for any reason why you would want to make a hasty decision about where to go to college if you choose to go. I see why you're leaning on the Reverend for clarity. Really, I do, but how is he to know what's best for you when it comes to life in theater? You need to get a job, whether that be waiting tables, chauffeuring, ushering, sweeping, anything to make you learn sense. You have raw talent, but it's wasted if you can't think rationally or have a life outside of the arts, and I'm not going to let you throw your life away. Coasting won't do it, Jim. Skating through won't work. I push you because I think you need it. If Winnie doesn't, who will? Hortense loves you too much, and I think you'll see that being the best doesn't matter, and opening your heart to whoever wants to do good by you is what you need to do to stay alive, even if your heart tells you to do something else.
I want to do something else. And if you're so smart with all your facts and knowledge, why don't you go out there and try again?
I'm too old. They don't cast people on their deathbed.
Come on.
I know it sounds dramatic, but it's the honest-to-God truth. Any woman in her 40s might as well be in her 70s in the eyes of Hollywood hotshots.
There have to be some.
I don't know any. My mother liked to say that women were good for making children and putting food on the table. I saw actresses like Mary Pickford and Lillian Gish and didn't believe her for a second. They were working women. But all of them died with a silent era. Never saw their faces on a Technicolor big screen. Even now, they do up all these young actresses to make them look like old women.
I didn't know that.
It's good trickery.
If you're talented, though, couldn't you make it?
If they didn't hide behind your age, then maybe. You need a screen test, an agent, and every star in the heavens aligning for you.
Could I do that?
With the right screen test, agent, and cluster of stars.
You know what I saw when we were traveling in that train? There are stars everywhere, an impossible number of them. And they're brighter here than there was in Indiana. I think that's a sign, huh?
It could be. It also couldn't be.
I'm real grateful for the two of you being here. Those stars aligned for me.
And the Reverend jumped at the chance to travel. He talked of nothing but mountains while we were planning.
I kind of wish it had just been you and me.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. You've been the one giving me all kinds of help on the speech stuff, and I felt there was more of this two-man effort than, a triple one.
It wouldn't have been appropriate without a male chaperone.
I could ask Marcus.
He had a farm to run.
Or Mr. Johnson.
Midterms.
Someone.
Jim, is something wrong?
Yeah, I don't know how to.
What?
They saw me.
Who saw you?
I was out for 5 hours. I didn't just go to see my father's place.
Stop playing, Jim.
I went out for a drink.
Alcohol? When the school
A
hears...
soda. I was just sitting there. Just a random diner, and a guy in a suit comes up and hands me this.
He produces a business card.
And he goes, "You have that look, kid. See what it says."
Warner
Grabbing
Brothers, Lot 5, Hollywood, USA.
Jim is beaming. Paige doesn't know what to say.
Thoughts?
This is wonderful, Jim.
You think so?
Yes, I've just... How you feeling?
Good.
Good. You watch all the pictures that show in town.
Sometimes twice.
Sometimes twice. You know that world backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
You don't seem excited.
I've had a few hours with it. It's funnier to see what you think.
Is it?
Yeah. I'll show exactly what you look like. Funny, huh?
Scintillating. I don't know if that's a word. Why did you let me pull you around like that instead of getting to the point? I
I
feel
tried. You distracted me.
I'm a little hasty, aren't I?
Nothing too obvious.
I really feel, Jim. I feel so much that it's unbearable. You're someone I feel a lot about.
Thank you.
Do you know what this card means, Jim?
I can get out of Indiana. No more yokel hokey pokey.
You can create art freely. They'll listen to you. That openness could change everything for you, Jim. For people like you.
That's some pressure.
Don't think of it as pressure. More like a goal.
My goal is art. I want to make art.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm happy for you, Jim. I really am. You're so close. This is a huge moment in your professional life.
Nothing's happened yet.
But it will. I can feel it. You should go get your stuff ready to go.
All right.
He goes to leave.
Can I get that card back?
I'll hold on to it for now. I don't want you getting lost while you pack.
Thanks.
Jim goes as Paige watches him leave. She looks at the business card for a moment. Quickly, but not too quickly, she goes to the phone.
Hello? Can you connect me with extension 489, please? Thank you. I'm Jane Page. Jane Page. Never mind. Is this the Warner Brothers offices? Oh, I see. Could I get their extension? Thank you.
The number has hung up on Paige. She looks to the card, confused. She dials again. Jim returns with a question but sees Paige on the phone. She doesn't see him as she continues. He stays quietly in the doorway.
Hello again. Would I be able to get the Warner Brothers office extension for Jan Page? Jan Page. Yes. Page. Thank you. I appreciate it.
She jots down the number. Jim watches.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, yes, I am an actress, or I try to be when I can, you know?
Jim, having seen enough, returns to his room.
Thank you. Have a good day.
She hangs up the phone, takes the business card, and tears it in half. Blackout. Scene 2. Inside a high school classroom in Indiana, 6 years later. Paige is grading papers, but rests her head on her hands for a moment. She gets up and meanders the classroom, stopping in front of a shrine of Jim. She looks at the newspaper clippings, carefully caresses them. After a moment, Jim knocks on the door, photographer in tow.
Knock, knock.
Oh, Jim, it's wonderful to see you.
They go to embrace, but something stops them both.
Who's this?
Someone. I don't know. He's just hanging around.
Dennis, ma'am, I'm taking pictures for Life magazine. Ever read it?
A few times. I'd have to travel to Indianapolis if I wanted a copy.
It's a nice place you've got here. Would have flown right over it if Jimmy didn't live here.
Our Jim put this place on the map.
Sure.
It's true. Without Jim, no one would know we existed.
No one from New York would.
Did you get many pictures?
Well, quite a few. Mostly out at the farm. His parents are fantastic, aren't they?
They sure are. Hortense can make great cornbread. You got some of those dance too?
Yes. When Jimmy played the drums, those kids just loved that.
You were quite the life of that party.
Yeah, they just needed a good beat.
They listened to you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've got an idea. Would you want to run some rehearsals this weekend?
He's wanted back in New York this weekend. Warner Brothers wants some shots there.
Yeah. Yes.
I see. There's one tomorrow if you wanted to.
We've got to train.
Of course. Did you know there's a wonderful garden behind the school that was dedicated by the first principal? Beautiful architecture back there. You should get a picture of it.
Why?
It's integral.
To what?
Gym schooling. Readers' understanding of gym schooling.
I don't...
I insist.
Pushing him out the door.
Mr. Lindo, please show this man to the garden.
Paige closes the door behind him.
You didn't correct him.
What?
Hortense and Marcus aren't your parents.
Oh. Yeah.
The dance was really fun.
I'm glad I brought my drums.
I didn't know you played and so well.
Been taking lessons.
In New York.
Yep.
That's lovely, Jim.
What's this?
Oh, something silly.
There's a lot of me on there.
Every article I've been able to track down.
Wow.
We're all so proud.
I know.
Do you? You're really leaning into the accent.
They like it.
Who's they?
Them. Hedda Hopper, Pauline Kael. Say I'm an enigma.
They'd be right.
Had tea with them.
Tea.
Yes, tea. With cups and little plates and all that.
Sounds sophisticated.
They printed something real nice about me after that.
I know.
You want to know something?
What?
I'm in another show.
That's wonderful.
It opens this fall.
I'll have to try and make it out.
If you come out early, I could convince someone to let you sit in on a rehearsal.
Jim!
Learn a little something about what the industry's like now.
Is it different?
Kinda.
Would they let me?
I'll pull some strings.
I can make it out during spring break.
Cool.
Thank you, Jim.
No problem.
So auditions are going well.
I got a part, so
Yes, yeah, you did. What did you perform?
something new. A new thing a friend wrote.
No Tennessee Williams?
Everyone's doing him.
I have someone doing Streetcar this year. For speech.
It's still on there?
On what?
Speech.
I am the speech teacher. No one else is qualified.
Yeah. Streetcar's not very classical, not Dickens.
Times are changing.
Times are changing.
He looks at his shrine.
The school seems smaller.
They need a new addition.
No, not like that. Like almost like a lifeboat floating in the ocean after a ship sinks, you know?
And all the cruises I've been on, I've never actually been in a lifeboat.
But use your imagination. Pretend you've been in one. Close your eyes.
Okay,
Smell the
does.
salt. Feel the air.
I do.
There's nothing around you. Just the depth of the ocean. The stars are out as the sun sinks into the horizon. It's blue and purple and pink and orange, and it's warm. All your troubles are 1,000,000 miles away. Everything seems so far. There's no shore, nothing to latch onto. You'd have to swim for days, and you'd have to do it alone. No one to catch you. Only the vastness to drag you under. But for now, you float, because that can wait another day.
Have you ever been cruising, Jim?
One time, this guy invited me out.
I bet you loved it.
I did. You could call me a certified sailor.
How'd that happen?
From one of my friends. He's been helping me get jobs.
An agent.
A sort of agent.
A liaison of sorts.
Yeah.
How did you two meet?
I was walking in Central Park and he found me.
Just like that. You have one of those faces. An actor face.
Slipped me his card and I went to the address.
Is it really that easy nowadays to just slip in and ask for representation?
I don't have his card anymore.
I wasn't asking for his card.
Oh. Right.
It's easy to get your foot in the door when you know people.
Unless you're talented.
What else does he do for you?
Auditions, interviews, press coverage, shit like that. He has a place in New York and LA.
Which do you like better?
I don't know. Warner can't get me in New York, I guess.
Get you?
Yeah. Micromanagement, Dennis calls it. Mr. Jackass Warner made me get a monkey suit and all this shit, and I gotta shave every day.
It's all about prestige, Jim. Of course he wants his new crop of young actors to look pristine. You're all unattainable. You're an unattainable standard for the public.
I don't like that stuff.
There's probably better opportunities in Los Angeles.
Hey,
And I bet there's a lot of girls too.
there are.
You have a girl, Jim?
Not now.
Not even that actress they had draped around your arm for months?
A studio thing. She smelled like garlic.
Oh. Glad to see studio politics haven't changed much.
You know studio politics?
From trashy magazines. Sometimes you have to be a little indulgent and find out what Hedda Hopper thinks.
You know, you could have played my mother
What?
in that Steinbeck movie. You fit the character good.
You think they would have offered me a contract?
Could have called him to find out.
I wouldn't have had the nerve.
Not even when you were younger?
Not even then.
I don't think that's true.
I was bashful when I was 20. I couldn't have.
You wouldn't have wanted to call Warner Brothers ever? Not even out of curiosity?
No.
That's not true.
Jim, are you okay? You're talking in circles.
I saw you.
Saw me what?
I saw you call them.
Who?
My studio, Warner Brothers.
Jim,
Why?
that was 6 years ago.
6 years ago is when you lost that business card, too.
Jim, you're being silly.
That was my ticket out of here.
You are out. Why does it matter now?
It matters because it happened. It matters because you tried to take that chance from me, swoop in and steal it.
That's not what I was doing.
Then what happened? Because it looked damn selfish to me.
I was trying to protect you.
From what? Having a career?
Well, I was skeptical.
That they wanted me?
Jim, please. The card looked, I don't know, counterfeit.
You calling him a faker?
Shut up, Jim. When I called the number, it wasn't what you wanted. It wasn't what you expected.
I didn't want to act.
I committed the name to memory, and I looked in the phone book at the train station. It was a Townsend agency, Jim, but they wanted young people
Or?
to take their clothes off, to pose nude for magazines. But it doesn't matter now because they didn't get their hands on you. You made a movie. You have good representation, and you're making a name for yourself, living the dream you wanted.
I am. Look, I'm sorry for accusing you like that.
It was all too much. So sinister. I didn't think I could have explained it then. I'm surprised I can explain it now.
I carried that around me for God knows how long.
Feels good to let go.
She goes to her desk and pulls out a newspaper clipping, staring.
Yeah. Get it off your chest.
It's a tough lesson to learn.
I think I hold grudges for too long.
Hmm?
I said I think I hold grudges for too long.
Oh,
She puts the newspaper away.
we all do. It's human nature.
It all went so fast.
What did?
The rise, I guess.
I bet it did.
I like it though.
You're young. Enjoy it.
I plan to. I want to live as much life as I can.
You've done acting and sailing. What else would be on the agenda? Most people stick with one thing and call it a life.
I got a car after we wrapped. It's a fast one. Silver.
Are you and Dennis driving around the country in it?
Nah, no, it's a liability.
Not if you drive safely.
Well, that's the thing, Mrs. Page. I don't follow the rules.
I remember.
Warner Brothers said I couldn't drive till I'm between movies. I couldn't take it with me. There's not enough room in New York to race anyway.
Out here though,
You can go so fast and it feels so good.
a train is fast enough for me.
Oh, train's baby stuff. Give me a bike or a car and I'm a happy guy.
You could have both now if you wanted.
I'm way ahead of you. Is it all so bad?
What?
Posing like that in those magazines?
It's not tasteful.
But even if you made the money,
It's not honest money.
money's money.
Pornography is dirty money.
That's your standard.
Standards aren't prudish.
Nah, they're just closed-minded.
I'm an open-minded person. That's not something I can get behind.
Times are a-changing.
Jim? Do you?
It don't matter.
All right. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I ain't ashamed.
Did they contact you?
What? No.
Oh, I thought that's
What?
why you left. I thought that's why you left.
Nah. I just couldn't stand it here. Too small.
Even the sky?
Sky.
You can't see stars in New York.
That's true. Just big swirling stuff.
All the light.
Lots of light.
When I was your age,
Yeah, here we go.
listen. When I was your age, and my parents, well, you know how parents are. Money was tight. No room in the house. I would sneak outside and just look up. And everything went away. When I couldn't do that, I would stare out of the hole in my wall. I tracked the stars. When Orion's belt came back, I felt like an old friend was visiting. And when the stars always came back when the train would whistle for its final run of the night, that's how you'd know it was sunset. You could see it across the horizon as the sun was sinking before it turned into a trail of glittery orbs. There could be famous people on that train, taking them far away from here. I wanted to jump on that train so many times. Something always stopped me. I heard my father's voice in my head, I thought, holding me back. Mama's hand around my throat. Jan, you can't leave. We ain't done with you yet. I didn't know where my next meal would come from. That gnawing kept me going. Kept me from going.
What else do you remember?
I remember a hunger.
Hunger.
Yes, for it.
It?
Acting. Doing what the people on my records did. There were actors on that train, Jim. If I was lucky, I would sneak onto a platform hoping to get a glimpse of them. None of them noticed me. I didn't expect them to. What could a girl from Indiana do for them?
You never tried.
I did.
When?
Once when I was very angry with my father, I threw a ring of his into the river. My stepmother's ring.
I didn't know that.
It's true. And I was so scared of what he'd do when he found out. I packed up a bag and I decided it would just be best to just start over.
Where are we going to go?
California. Silent movies were all the rage. Do you still say that? All the rage?
Things are cool now.
Well, silent movies were cool, Jim. And booming. Someone plucked Joan Crawford from the chorus and plopped her in the limelight. If she could, I could. Anyone could.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
I've heard this part before, on the train back from Los Angeles.
I didn't think you'd remember one of my silly stories.
It ain't silly, it's personal.
Hollywood then was a glamour factory. It was a world away, though. I couldn't reach it.
It's more than that. It's more than that now.
What?
Since I've been in New York and Los Angeles, there's a lot you could do to copy that kind of experience here, you know?
Care to enlighten me?
These directors let you do whatever you want. You fudge a take, they'll talk you down and let you do it again. Or sometimes they don't talk to you And you know what you screwed up, so you fix it next time.
That would be nice. Takes away the pressure.
There's this book that's been floating around, some Russian, Stanislavski. He wrote this book about acting. It's changing the industry, Miss Page.
Really?
Yes, it helped Brando, and it's going to help me. I'm reading it right now. Again, he almost preaches about getting into character and the importance of feeling and what you need to do to get in it and stay in it.
Like what?
Say you're playing a character who's been hurt or something. How would they feel? You look inside yourself for that instinct and you bring it out for the cameras or your partner, and then they can react to you given their own circumstances, and it just goes from there.
Does it have to be so deep?
Well, that's good acting though, right? Depth.
Sounds dangerous.
It's the style, Mrs. Page. This is the new way.
This book isn't asking you to go out and intentionally seek abuse, right? You're not endangering yourself?
No, it's not. But if you have been, it almost makes it easier. A lot less thinking about how someone would react and more letting it out. I used it in a scene study, and it almost totally just clicked something with me.
That's nice, Jim. I'm glad you found something you can really work with.
An actor prepares. I have a copy right here if you want to look at it.
I doubt I could read it all before you're due to go.
I can leave it here.
No, you keep it. I couldn't read it in such a short amount of time.
Mrs. Page, I can afford 100 copies of this book now, probably more. Leaving this one here won't matter.
Well, thank you. Could you sign it for me?
What?
Sign it. The kids will just be floored by having something signed by a celebrity.
Sure. There you go.
Thank you, Jim. Are you really leaving so soon?
Yeah. The schedule of a new bankable star rests in the hands of Jack Warner.
I want to take you out for lunch or something. Somewhere more casual.
What could be more casual than a high school classroom?
The Highway Diner?
I haven't thought of that place in years.
I was going there tonight if you wanted to join.
Maybe. I can't leave Dennis here, though. He'd have to come.
That's all right.
Okay. I'd have to ask him.
I was going to meet Reverend Jacoby there. We could all catch up together. I'm sure he'd love to see you too.
You don't want it to be just us?
It would be just like old times. I don't have a problem sharing my time with people who want to see me.
Oh, I'm not really in the mood for diner food.
You were just a second ago.
I'm not now.
Why?
There's homemade food at home. Hortense made beef tongue.
You know, I've been auditioning too.
All right.
Here, there, Chicago mostly.
Nice.
I take the train.
Get anything?
Not yet.
There aren't many parts for you.
What?
Well, there aren't many parts for you.
What makes you say that?
The Times, no one in New York is casting your type.
What's my type, Jim?
Teacher? I don't know.
You can say old.
Come on.
It's fine. I am old, my cross to bear.
I didn't mean...
It's that kind of thinking that keeps people like me from getting jobs. Oh, we can just age her up with a few gray lines on her face. Why not cast someone with that kind of experience? There's value to that.
I agree.
It's good you're young, Jim. Directors don't look at you like you could turn to dust at any moment.
Is that what they tell you?
No, not with words. See it in their eyes.
What tells you that?
An actor's intuition, let's say.
I don't think you're dusty.
Thank you.
I think you should continue going out there. It's a whole new world. There's lots of new work being done on and off Broadway. Never know if they need a mother or a teacher.
I should. You know, I didn't know if you were going to come visit me.
Why's that?
You didn't call. You usually call before you come.
I guess I didn't.
I didn't think you'd show up.
Here I am.
Hortense said you called her.
She's my aunt, practically my mother.
So? there's some moral responsibility to visit her,
You could say so.
but none to me.
Well, I mean,
What?
isn't that a bit gracious?
Maybe. Maybe it is. I do sound a little childish right now, but I'm burning, Jim. I hurt.
Why?
This
She goes to her desk and pulls out a newspaper clipping.
is why.
What is that?
An article?
Why isn't it on the wall?
You're here for such a short amount of time and you didn't bother to carve out a moment for me.
Well, I'm here now, aren't I?
You're here because Hortense forced you. I called her and mentioned I hadn't seen you yet.
You don't think I would have showed up eventually?
No, I don't think you would have shown up. Because you're ashamed.
I'm not.
You are. Do you remember this article?
I've done a lot of interviews.
In this one, when the reporter asked you about Indiana, you replied, "It's pretty good, but not great. I learned theater there from a washed-up actress, which is probably why I was so behind in New York.
Yes.
I did the best I could with what I knew, Jim. And I kicked myself every year for not giving my kids something better. But since I devoted so much time to my job, to people like you, I couldn't learn more. But sure, shit all over and what you got, where you started, that just makes you look all the much better, doesn't it?
Sorry I told the truth.
It didn't have to be so crass. Brando started in Nebraska, and he didn't sell it everyone back home.
Brando and I are the same.
This, Jim?
She picks up an actor prepares.
Isn't this your roadmap to Brando?
Everyone is using that book. I gave it to you to help you. You had me sign the damn thing.
Because you mean something to me. To this town. I needed
something to peddle when I got rich and famous. I get the picture.
I can feel you slipping away, and I don't know. You're getting to do what I couldn't, and I want to live through you. That's why I have this wall. Why I document your life, because I know no one would have done that for me if I were in your position. I feel responsible for getting you where you are today, and it hurts that you feel that you cut Indiana out of your life. No one is prouder of you than me, Jim. I want to be with you every step of the way, and this is my way to do that.
I don't owe you any part of my success. I built this on my own.
This washed-up actress isn't asking for credit. I'm asking for a fair assessment in a national newspaper.
I've said what I think is fair.
Is that really what you thought of your education? Of me?
I'm not going to answer that.
You do what you want. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay. I think you fucked me over.
Please watch your language.
You did, and there ain't no other words for it.
I'd like to know how.
Junior year, 1948.
No one forced you to drop out.
No, but you made me think art was done a certain way, done with restraint, because that's just how it worked, how it had to be, and it fucked me over because I wasn't prepared for what the world was like. You know, movies run for more than 10 minutes, Mrs. Page. Those speech time limits don't work in the real world, and no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit when your porno shoots last for more than 10 minutes because the real world keeps changing, and some people are just left behind by it, but I won't be. I refuse.
Why are you telling me this, Jim? What does speech have to do with anything?
I don't know.
You brought it up.
You seem to think that because I'm younger they're younger than you, I know nothing, never will know nothing, or why things fit together, why shit happens to the wrong people.
Striking out on your own was the wrong move, Jim. We all knew it.
But it worked.
But it doesn't work for everybody.
But no, it didn't work for you, which is why it doesn't work for everyone, right?
I was giving you advice.
But you and everyone else, Hortense, Marcus.
The Reverend?
You know you're not listening. You know what not listening to you did for me? I made more in 2 months than you make in an entire year.
Yes, you did.
And I've met more women your age out there than I can count.
How?
They're working. They're working professionals, doing what you wanted, only actually doing it.
I've told you, my age.
Has nothing to fucking do with it. I believed that for a while, I did. But after being out there, I know you're just scared. Scared to death of failing. buck up and quit hiding behind your age. You're not a washed up actress until you're an actress.
If I had to break into you like you did, then I don't want to hear any part of it. I can't believe letting people molest you for money.
I don't let people molest me. You don't just let people molest you. You can ask the Reverend about that.
Jim, what are you saying? That's a huge accusation.
It's true.
He's a good man. He wouldn't.
Wouldn't touch a hair on anyone's head. God works in mysterious ways.
That's disgusting.
You're not defending him. You can't.
If I ask him,
You can't ask him shit because he'll deny it.
if I can't ask him, I'll ask you. What happened?
I don't know. I can't make words for it.
Try.
He would talk to me like an animal. Gently. Quietly. It was hypnotic everywhere, and it was so natural, so smooth. When it happened, he didn't stop. And I didn't say anything then, or the next time, or the time after. He grabbed me, and I was his. I hated it, but it felt so good to be touched by someone, to be so close. He wanted me to stay, but not for the same reason as you. He didn't want to have to train someone else. I tried telling. Oh, God, I tried. And I can't escape his breathing down my neck or his hand on my throat. I was scared of it. And it happened all through high school, and I couldn't tell anyone because I was embarrassed. It's weak to cry. I wish I hadn't cried so much.
I don't believe you.
It happened.
I don't need you proving to me how good of an actor you are.
I'm not acting.
How else could you make up such a story?
He was touching me, feet away from you, just across the hall. I didn't cry out. I didn't ask for help because I thought you could see it in my eyes. I wasn't safe then, and I'm not. I should have. What the hell did 10 minutes matter when he was doing that to me under your watch? I dream about it, you know? All of it. How I could have avoided it.
But you didn't. Now that dream should be gone. Dead. Buried 6 feet under with your mother.
She knows what she said.
You should go, Jim. It's been nice getting to talk to you.
Say hi to the Reverend for me.
He leaves, slamming the door. Paige waits a moment, goes to the door to follow him, yelling, "Jim, Jim!" He does not answer. She closes the door and rushes to one of the windows where she desperately cranes her neck to see if she can spot him. She cannot. Slowly she turns back, goes to her desk, and picks up an Actor Prepares and reads the inscription, which is heard in voiceover.
To Jan. Reach for the stars and they'll align. Jim.
Paige sinks. The lights fade to black and up to a spotlight as the Reverend steps in.
Jim was a good boy. Life cut short by an unfortunate automobile crash. I loved Jim as many of us did. I remember many nights we spent together, having conversations about religion and life. He was a curious boy. You couldn't help but naturally be drawn to his presence. His voice was so strong, very charming, a fast talker. He could say more in 2 minutes than any one person could say in an hour. Intense. He was very serious about his work. He brought us pride, brought some semblance of recognition. He was a protege of Jan Page, who taught him to love the stage, and in turn, he helped us to love the stage. We can remember his smile, his laugh, and the laughter he brought us all, and millions across the country. Our Jim, featured on screens all across the United States. Jim will be remembered. He touched us all. He is succeeded by his Aunt Hortense, Uncle Marcus, their son, Marky, and his father, Winton, who have decided to bury him by his mother, Mildred, whom he loved very much. We celebrate the boy who lived fast to die young. You are home.
Blackout.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you all for reading.
Thank you.
Do
15.
you have any questions about it or any comments? I'm gonna get in the light so it's better.
I like a lot of the themes it tackled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the whole like, you know, I guess like the dynamic, like the getting away and how it like it worked for him and he challenges it, but like it, I don't know, it's something you hear a lot, especially in our like field of study.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the whole idea of I want to get out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic with the age gap reminds me a lot of some of the interactions that I've had with some people that have like mentored me. And it was very true and very honest. So I thought that was really cool.
I dig it.
When I was writing this, if the end didn't give it away, I based it on James Dean and his like high school drama teacher's relationship.
You James Dean slut.
A